Have you ever wondered why love is both the most beautiful thing and also the most confusing aspect of life? Why do some relationships last forever while others fall apart despite giving their all? Have you ever asked yourself why you always end up being the one hurt in love? Why is it that some men, who are initially so attractive, make you feel lonely as time goes by? Not all men are the same, and if you don't understand their psychology, you may easily find yourself caught in a cycle of insecure relationships. From cold, practical men to those who are controlling or overly dependent on their families, each type of man has his own characteristics. So how can you love the right person and avoid loving the wrong one so as not to hurt yourself? Let's explore. Welcome to the channel, Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is the place where every story and lesson about love will help you find the answers you seek. Today, we will delve into 8 types of men who can easily hurt you if you don't understand their psychology. These aren't just empty words, they are real-life experiences and profound lessons that will change the way you view love. Stay with me, because the most surprising and interesting insights are still ahead. Before we begin, find a quiet place, put on your headphones, and relax your mind. Let the insights in this video help you experience love more deeply and savor every meaningful moment. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's go! Number 1. The cold man, who rarely expresses his emotions. Misunderstanding will only hurt yourself. In love, not everyone is good at expressing emotions. There are men who, although they love very deeply, rarely say it out loud, nor do they often act romantically. They can make you feel lonely even when they are by your side. And if you don't understand their mentality, you are very likely to get hurt and start doubting your own feelings. So, what kind of person is a cold man, who rarely expresses his emotions? Do they truly love? And if you are in love with someone like that, how can you avoid getting hurt? Why are some men cold? It is not by chance that a man becomes less expressive. There are many reasons that lead them to be more closed off and silent in love. Innate personality. Some people inherently do not like to show too many emotions. They are introspective and lean more towards action than words. Family environment. If they grow up in a family that rarely shows affection, they might not be accustomed to expressing love or showing emotions. Past experiences. The hurt from previous relationships can make them more guarded, avoiding too much expression to prevent getting hurt again. Practical mindset. Some men believe that love doesn't need too many words, but only the right actions at the right time. They do not believe in romance or sweet promises. Signs of recognizing a cold man. If you are in love with a man who rarely shows his emotions, you might notice the following: rarely saying "I love you." He may love you, but he seldom says phrases like "I love you" or "I miss you." Not texting or calling often. He does not like long conversations over text messages, may reply briefly, or sometimes even forgets to respond. Not showing affection in public. He does not like holding hands, hugging, or displaying affection in crowded places. Not being proactive in love. He rarely surprises you with romantic gestures, nor does he often plan dates. Often remaining silent when conflicts arise. When issues occur, instead of explaining or debating, he chooses to remain silent or avoid the situation. However, this does not mean that he doesn't love you. Cold men love in their own unique way. If you understand, you will feel that love deeply. How to avoid getting hurt when loving a cold man. If you are in a relationship with a man who rarely expresses his emotions, do not hastily conclude that he does not love you. Instead of demanding that he completely change, you can adjust your understanding and way of loving so that neither of you gets hurt. Understand the way he expresses love. Instead of comparing him to other romantic men, pay attention to the way he loves in his own manner. Perhaps he doesn't say "I love you" but is always ready to help you when you're in trouble. Perhaps he doesn't send sweet texts, but he always remembers the important things in your life. Don't force him to change immediately. Everyone has a different way of expressing emotions. Forcing a cold man to become as sweet as in the movies is unrealistic. If you truly love him, give him time to open up gradually. Tell him what you expect. Men rarely understand a woman's feelings unless you express them. If you feel neglected, speak clearly instead of blaming. For example, instead of saying, "You never care about me," you could say, "I feel very happy when you take the time to text me in the morning." Find balance in the relationship. If you are someone who needs a lot of attention, try to find balance by focusing on yourself, your hobbies, and other aspects of life instead of placing all your happiness solely in love. When you are happy with yourself, you will feel less hurt when loving a man who rarely shows his emotions. Observe actions rather than just words. Cold men may not be good at saying "I love you," but they show their love through actions. If he is always by your side, helps you when you need it, and worries when you are in trouble, that is his way of loving. When should you reconsider the relationship? Although men who rarely express their emotions can love very sincerely, if you feel that you are always lonely, lacking in affection, and unable to reconcile with his way of loving, perhaps you need to reconsider. A relationship is truly good only when both parties are happy. If you have tried to understand, have had honest conversations, but he still does not change and you always feel hurt, perhaps he is not the right person for you. Finally, loving a cold man who rarely expresses his emotions is not easy. But if you understand and accept his way of loving, you will realize that sometimes love doesn't need too many words. What matters is how he treats you in the most important moments of your life. Are you in love with such a man? Have you ever felt hurt by his coldness? Please share your thoughts. What do you think about this? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I look forward to hearing your opinions and discussing further. Don't forget to hit like if you find this content useful and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next sharing. Thank you very much. Let's continue together. Number 2. The overly rational, practical man. Loving with the mind, not the heart. Love is naturally a matter of emotions, but there are men who always put reason above all else. They do not love in a romantic way, nor are they swept away by the roller coaster of emotions like others. To them, love is like a math problem. It requires logic, consideration of benefits, and is rarely swayed by emotions. If you are in love with such a man, you may feel that he is too practical, lacks attention, and seldom puts himself in your shoes. But does a man who is overly rational really not know how to love? And if you love someone like that, how can you avoid getting hurt? Characteristics of an overly rational, practical man. Not everyone loves in an emotional way. Some men view love as a part of life that must be practical and logical. The signs of a rational, practical man often include not believing in blind love. He never loves on a whim. Every decision in love is based on careful consideration. Viewing love as a rational choice, he will not love just because he feels a spark. He will consider whether you are suitable for his future. Not overly romantic or indulgent. He does not like overly romantic actions such as giving flowers, writing love letters, or unnecessary surprises. Focusing on career and material matters. For him, career and finances are always important factors. If a relationship affects his work or finances, he is ready to reconsider. Always calculating the benefits in love. He may love you, but he will also think about whether this relationship is beneficial or detrimental to his future. With these characteristics, a man who is overly rational may sometimes cause women to feel hurt due to a lack of attention and clear acts of love. But in reality, does he really not love you? Do rational men truly not know how to love? It cannot be denied that overly rational men do not love in the way that most women expect. They do not express their feelings strongly, nor do they get lost in romantic emotions. But that does not mean they do not love. They love through practical actions. Instead of uttering sweet words, they show love by taking care of the future and planning a stable life. They value compatibility more than fleeting emotions. For them, a lasting relationship requires similar ways of thinking, goals, and lifestyles. They are not easily swayed by emotions. This may make them appear cold, but it also helps them avoid making wrong decisions in love. If you understand this, you will no longer feel hurt by their practicality. Instead of expecting romance, look at the way they invest in the future of both of you. How to avoid getting hurt when loving an overly rational man. Loving a very practical man is not easy, especially if you are someone who lives for emotions. If you do not understand his way of loving, you will easily get hurt. Accept that he is not a romantic person. If you expect a man who always speaks sweet words, creates surprises, or spends time doing frivolous yet enjoyable things, you may be disappointed. He loves in his own way and cannot become someone else just because you want him to. Clearly communicate your desires. A rational man often does not notice the little things in love. If you want him to pay more attention, clearly state it instead of expecting him to understand on his own. For example, instead of blaming, "You never care about me," try saying, "I really like it when you take the time to check in on me every day. It makes me feel loved." Do not expect changes too quickly. He might change a little if he loves you, but he cannot become a completely different person. If you love an overly rational man, accept that he will always prioritize practicality over emotions. Find common ground instead of focusing on differences. Instead of trying to change him, try to harmonize. If he is concerned about his career, have a conversation with him about work. If he values finances, plan a financial future together. When both of you share common goals, love becomes more sustainable. Look at actions instead of just words. Even if he does not say "I love you" every day, if he is always there for you when you need him, always thinking about the future for both of you, and never does anything to hurt you, that is the way he loves. When should you reconsider the relationship? Although loving a rational man may make you feel secure, if you always feel lonely, neglected, and cannot find emotional harmony, perhaps you should reconsider the relationship. Love cannot be solely about reason without emotions. If you feel that you always have to try hard to adapt, constantly enduring his emotional dryness without being happy, perhaps he is not the right person for you. In conclusion, an overly rational, practical man does not mean he does not know how to love, it just means he loves in a different way. If you understand and accept that, you can find security in his love. But if you are someone who lives for emotions and needs a lot of attention, you might feel lonely in this relationship. Are you in love with such a man? How do you feel when you are with someone overly rational? Share your thoughts. If you are still watching the video, do not hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comments section. I look forward to hearing your opinions. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that Sophia has more motivation to create more meaningful and interesting videos. Let's continue together. Number 3. The man who loves to conquer but doesn't want commitment. Is love just a game? There are some men who always enjoy the thrill of conquest, but once they have achieved it, they quickly lose interest. They are skilled at flirting and know how to make women fall for them, but they have no intention of committing long-term. If you do not recognize this early on, you may easily find yourself in a state of pain and disappointment when you realize that you were just one of the trophies in his journey of conquest. So, what are the characteristics of this type of man? Why don't they want commitment? And how can you avoid becoming a victim of such superficial relationships? Signs of a man who loves to conquer but doesn't want commitment. This type of man often has a strong charm and knows how to make you feel special. However, if you pay close attention, you will notice the following signs. Initiates flirting but avoids commitment. He may text or call you every day, showing special care, but when you mention the future or a serious relationship, he will dodge the topic or say, "Let's just enjoy the present." Sweet words but inconsistent actions. He may say things that make your heart flutter, but when you need him during important moments, he is not there. Always maintains a certain distance. No matter how intimate you become, He always keeps a definite boundary, not allowing you to fully understand his private life. Easily changes targets. When he feels that you are no longer new or challenging, he starts to pay less attention, appears indifferent, and may seek another person. Dislikes being tied down. If you try to bind him with commitments, emotions, or promises, he will find a way to back off. This type of man enjoys the thrill of the chase but does not want to be bound by the responsibilities of love. Why do they love to conquer but not commit? There are many reasons why a man may enjoy the thrill of conquest but not want to maintain a long-term relationship. The predator mentality. Some view love as a game. They enjoy the challenge and the victory, but once they have achieved it, they lose interest. The fear of commitment. They do not want to be limited to a single relationship. The idea of committing to one person makes them feel suffocated. Too many choices. Men with good looks, status, or wealth often have many opportunities to approach women. When there are too many choices, it becomes difficult for them to be loyal to one person. Past emotional wounds. Some men have experienced heartbreak, which leads them to no longer believe in long-term love. They prefer short-term fun and are afraid to invest emotionally. A mindset of living for the present. They do not want to think ahead or worry about the future. They only care about whether today is exciting, without concern for tomorrow. These factors make it easy for them to enter a relationship, but they also make it easy for them to leave as soon as the excitement fades. How to avoid becoming a victim of these men? If you do not want to be hurt by a man who only loves the thrill of conquest, you need to equip yourself with ways to recognize and deal with them. Don't believe in flowery words. This type of man is very good at using sweet talk to make you feel moved. But instead of being swept away by those sweet words, observe his actions. If he only shows up when everything is convenient and disappears when you need him, that is a clear sign that he is not serious. Do not let yourself be drawn into an emotional game. They like to make you feel special, but when you start showing more affection, they begin to withdraw. Do not let your emotions be manipulated by someone who has no intention of being serious with you. Do not place too many hopes on them. If you notice signs that he is merely interested in the chase, keep an emotional distance. Do not expect that he will change or ultimately choose you as his final destination. Set clear boundaries. If you want a serious relationship, state it clearly from the beginning. If he intends only to have fun without commitment, it is better for you to walk away early rather than wait for something that will never happen. Do not lose your self-worth. Men who love the chase may make you feel like you are the most special person in the world, but when they lose interest, you will feel abandoned. Remember that your value does not depend on anyone's attention. When should you walk away? Not everyone can change, especially those who are accustomed to loving without commitment. If you feel that you are always waiting, hoping he will be serious while everything remains vague, it is time to walk away. You deserve a relationship where you do not have to worry about tomorrow, where you do not have to question whether he is truly sincere. If a man cannot commit to you, give your love to someone who will truly appreciate you. In conclusion, a man who loves to conquer but doesn't want commitment may be very attractive, but he is also the type who can hurt you the most. He may bring an intense initial passion, but in the end, he leaves behind a sense of emptiness. The most important thing is that you recognize this type of person early and do not let yourself fall into a passive role in love. If a man does not want commitment, let him go. Because out there are many people ready to love you in the most complete way. Have you ever met a man like this? Please share your story. Number 4. The womanizer, who has many relationships. Can you keep them? There is a type of man who naturally attracts women without having to try too hard. He is charming, confident, knows how to converse, and always has many relationships around him. Being with him will give you a sense of excitement and thrill, but it also comes with worries, doubts, and pain. Are womanizers truly just playboys? Can they be faithful? And if you are in love with someone like that, how can you avoid becoming just one of his choices? Characteristics of a womanizer who has many relationships. Not all men who have many admirers are unfaithful, but there are some signs that help you identify this type of man. Naturally attractive and captivating, they usually have a striking appearance, a confident demeanor, and know how to make an impression on the opposite sex. Excellent communicators, able to make others feel moved, they understand the psychology of women, know what you want to hear, and always make you feel special. Have many relationships, especially with women, you will notice that they have many friends of the opposite sex, and frequently interact and chat with many girls. Do not like being tied down. When it comes to commitment or seriousness in love, they usually avoid it or try to prolong the time. Enjoy the thrill of being pursued and conquered, they not only love the chase, but also enjoy the feeling of being admired by many. Easily change their feelings, they might be sweet today but indifferent tomorrow. This leaves you in a state of confusion and uncertainty. A man with these characteristics may not necessarily deceive you, but if you do not understand his nature, you can easily become just one of his fleeting relationships. Why do they have many relationships but struggle to commit? There are many reasons why a womanizer finds it difficult to commit long-term. They enjoy the attention. When they are used to having many people around, they get caught up in the novelty and do not want to limit themselves to a single relationship. Fear of losing freedom. For them, love is a part of life, but not everything. They do not want to be bound by responsibilities or long-term commitments. Lack of emotional stability. These men are often easily swayed by emotions, attracted to the new, and quickly lose interest once things become familiar. Too many choices. When there are too many opportunities, they often find it hard to commit to just one person, always feeling there might be someone better. Not really seeking a serious relationship. Many womanizers only enjoy the fun without any intention of building a future with anyone. So, does that mean all womanizers are incapable of loving seriously? Not necessarily. But if you are in love with such a person, you need to understand clearly what you want to avoid being hurt. How to avoid getting hurt when in love with a womanizer. If you are in love with a man who has many relationships, you need to remain clear-headed and confident so that you do not fall into a passive state. Do not delude yourself into thinking that you can change him. Many women believe that their love can make a womanizer become faithful. But the truth is, if he is not ready to change, there is nothing you can do. Observe his actions, not just his words. This type of man is very good at saying sweet things, but what matters is how he treats you. If he always prioritizes you, keeps his promises, and is not vague with others, that is a good sign. However, if he only makes empty promises without ever following through, you should reconsider. Do not be overly jealous or controlling. If he is truly a womanizer but does not cheat on you, being excessively controlling, questioning, or jealous will only make the relationship tense. If you cannot bear him having many relationships around, perhaps he is not the right type of man for you. Set clear boundaries. Make it clear to him what you desire. If you want a serious relationship, let him know from the start. If he cannot meet your expectations, it is better to leave sooner than to keep hoping. Always maintain your self-worth. Womanizers may make you feel like you are the most special person in the world, but when they lose interest, you will feel abandoned. Remember that your value does not depend on anyone's attention. When should you walk away? If a womanizer cannot give you a sense of security, continuously hurts you, or has no intention of being serious with you, you should consider leaving. Signs that you should end the relationship: he constantly makes you doubt your position in his life. He is unclear about the relationship, frequently saying things like "I'm not ready to commit." You feel that you are just one of his choices, not the only one. He tends to be vague and does not make the relationship public. Love is not about fighting over or waiting for someone to change. If you do not feel happy, choose the right path for yourself. In conclusion, a womanizer has a strong attraction, but he is also the type who can hurt you the most. If you love someone like that, you need to be clear about what you want, set boundaries, and not let yourself become just one of his temporary choices. A man who truly loves you will not leave you doubting his feelings. If you constantly feel insecure in the relationship, perhaps it is time to reconsider. Have you ever loved a womanizer? Do you think they can change? Please share your thoughts. Number 5. The man who carries emotional wounds from the past. Is loving them a journey of healing or self-inflicted pain? Not everyone enters into love with a whole heart. There are men who have experienced deep hurt in the past, whether from previous relationships, family issues, or other painful experiences. These wounds make it hard for them to open up, difficult for them to trust and love, and sometimes inadvertently cause pain to the woman beside them. If you are in love with such a man, you may notice that he is quiet, reserved, or even has negative reactions when love is mentioned. So what can you do to love without getting hurt? Signs of a man who carries emotional wounds from the past. A man with emotional scars often does not easily reveal his true feelings. However, if you are perceptive, you will notice some signs. Fear of commitment. He may love you, but he always hesitates when it comes to the future. He tends to avoid conversations about long-term attachment. Always keeping a certain distance. No matter how close you become, you still feel that he is creating an invisible wall between the two of you. He is not easily willing to share about himself, especially regarding past wounds. Having negative reactions when love or the past is mentioned, he may become irritable, sad, or avoidant when talking about romantic matters, especially if his past was not pleasant. Lack of trust and love. He may have been betrayed or deeply hurt in the past, and now he no longer believes in love. This makes him constantly in a state of doubt or guardedness. Easily swayed by emotions. Men with past wounds often have unstable emotions, sometimes very caring, but at other times cold and distant. Tendency to overprotect himself. He may not want to depend on anyone, not wanting anyone to step into his world for fear of being hurt again. These signs do not mean that he does not love you, but if you do not understand his psychology, you may easily fall into a cycle of hurt and disappointment. Why do they find it difficult to open up? Emotional wounds are not easily faded, and everyone has their own way of dealing with pain. Some reasons why they find it hard to open up in love include having been betrayed or hurt in a past relationship. If he once loved deeply but was betrayed, he will find it very hard to trust and love again. Family influence. Some men grow up in unhappy families, witnessing parental quarrels or breakups, which forms a fear of marriage and commitment. Low self-esteem. If in the past he was constantly belittled or experienced emotional wounds, he may always feel that he does not deserve love. Not having truly moved on from the past. Some people are still haunted by old memories. Even though the relationship ended long ago, the wounds remain. When loving a man with emotional wounds, you need to understand that love cannot always heal immediately. How to love without getting hurt. Loving a man who carries emotional wounds from the past requires patience, understanding, and sometimes sacrifice. But you also cannot let yourself endure endlessly without receiving anything in return. Accept that he has wounds. You cannot change his past. What you can do is accept that he has been hurt, instead of trying to erase it. Do not force him to open up immediately. These men do not easily share their feelings. If you try to force him to talk about the past or to express his emotions quickly, you will only make him withdraw further. Always be patient, but do not endure unconditionally. You can wait, but not indefinitely. If he cannot open up even after you have given so much time and affection, perhaps you need to reconsider whether this is the right relationship for you. Avoid becoming the healer. Many women make the mistake of thinking that they can be the one to heal a man's wounds. But the truth is, only he can heal himself. You may accompany him, but you cannot change someone if they are not ready. Clearly define your own boundaries. You can love and be patient, but do not lose yourself in the process. If he continuously hurts you and does not give you the respect you deserve, then that love is not worth continuing. When should you walk away? Not all men with emotional wounds are worth dedicating your youth to waiting for. If you notice the following signs, perhaps you should consider leaving. He makes no effort to move on from the past. If he constantly lives in old pain and refuses to change, you may end up waiting forever. You always feel lonely in the relationship. If loving him still leaves you feeling lost, without care or respect, that is no longer a healthy love. He is not ready to accept your love. A person may have wounds, but if he does not open his heart for you to step in, you cannot force him. The relationship causes you more pain than happiness. If you spend all your time worrying, hurt, and feeling insecure, perhaps you should step away and look for someone more worthy. In conclusion, a man who carries emotional wounds from the past is not a bad person, nor is he incapable of love. But to love such a person, you need patience, understanding, and most importantly, you must not lose your own worth. You may accompany him on his journey to healing, but you cannot be the only one holding this relationship together. If you have tried your best and still cannot reach his heart, be strong enough to walk away. Because true love is when both people make an effort, not when one gives and the other only takes. Have you ever loved someone with wounds from the past? Do you think love can heal everything? Please share your thoughts. Number 6. The controlling, domineering man. Is it love or being imprisoned in a relationship? Ideal love is when two people can live independently yet share and accompany each other in life. However, there is a type of man you might encounter in a relationship, the controlling, domineering man. This type of man always wants everything to go his way and often uses his power in the relationship to keep you in a passive position. Although at first you might feel cared for and protected, eventually you will gradually feel suffocated and deprived of freedom. So, who is this type of man? And can you find peace when loving someone like that? Signs of a controlling, domineering man. To recognize a controlling man, you need to pay attention to his actions and words. Here are some easily noticeable signs. Always wanting to decide everything. He tends to make decisions for both of you without asking for your opinion. Whether it is something big or small, he is always the one who decides everything in the relationship. You will feel that you lack autonomy and have no say in important matters. Imposing rules on you, he not only wants to control your actions but also demands that you follow unreasonable rules. You may feel as if you are living inside a mold that he has created, making you feel guilty when you do not follow his wishes. When you do not do as he requests, he will make you feel at fault, even as if you are not good enough or do not love him enough. Limiting your relationships with others, he may be overly jealous, demanding that you cut off relationships with friends, colleagues, or even family if he feels uncomfortable. This control gradually distances you from the important people in your life. Easily losing his temper when not obeyed, he may display anger or disappointment whenever you do not do what he wants. This makes you feel as if you are constantly living in fear and pressure, making you doubt yourself. He may make you feel insecure about yourself, constantly questioning your own decisions and emotions. You will gradually feel confused about who you are and may lose your sense of self. Why does this man like to control? A man who likes to control can stem from many deep-seated reasons. Here are some reasons why he acts this way. A feeling of insecurity. Sometimes, controlling men are those who are not confident in themselves. They fear losing the person they love, and therefore, they try to control everything to ensure nothing threatens their relationship. A desire for possession. Some people are highly possessive. They regard their partner as their own property and do not want anyone else interfering in that relationship. They fear losing you and want to maintain control to feel safe. Lack of ability to resolve conflicts. This type of man often does not know how to handle issues in a healthy way. Instead of communicating and compromising, he chooses to impose his views and decisions, to avoid arguments or disagreements. Love that is possessive and domineering. For some, love is not about respect and sharing, but about possession and protection. They believe that if they can control their partner, they will be able to safeguard their relationship. How to avoid getting hurt when loving a controlling man? Loving a controlling man is not easy. To avoid getting hurt in such a relationship, you need to be aware of your own rights and know how to protect yourself. Recognize the signs of control. First, you need to recognize the signs of control. When you realize that you are being controlled, confront the issue directly. Otherwise, you will easily fall into a state of lost freedom and lose control of your own life. Set clear boundaries. It is very important to set clear limits in the relationship. You cannot love someone without having personal freedom. Let him know that you need your own space, that you have the right to decide what is important to you, and that you need respect from him. Do not let yourself be manipulated. A controlling man will always try to manipulate your emotions to make you do what he wants. Do not let yourself feel guilty for not complying with his unreasonable demands. You have the right to do what makes you happy and comfortable. Stay connected with family and friends. Even if he asks you to cut off relationships with the important people in your life, do not do so. Family and friends are those who will always be there for you, and they will help you view the relationship more objectively. Actively create space for yourself. Do not let yourself be imprisoned in this relationship. Take time for yourself, pursue your own interests, and develop relationships outside of your romantic one. When you have your own life, you will not be dependent on the controlling man. When should you walk away? If you are with a controlling man, you need to clearly recognize when it is time to stop. If you find that you no longer have freedom, are constantly under pressure, and feel as if you are living under surveillance, it is time to reconsider the relationship. Here are the signs that indicate you should walk away. He does not respect you and your freedom. You constantly feel tense, scared, and anxious. The relationship makes you lose confidence and you are no longer yourself. He does not change despite your repeated requests for respect and personal space. Love should not be a battle or imprisonment, but rather a journey of companionship and sharing. If you feel that the relationship is hurting you more than bringing you joy, be strong enough to walk away. In conclusion, a controlling man may initially make you feel safe, but in the long run, this relationship will cause you to lose yourself. The most important aspects of love are respect and freedom. If you do not feel both, perhaps it is time to reconsider the relationship. Remember that you deserve to be loved freely and completely, not as an object for someone to possess. You have the right to live your life and love in the way you choose. Have you ever loved a controlling man? Please share your story. Number 7. The man who prioritizes his career over love. Are you just the second choice? In life, there are men who consider love as an important part, but there are also those who put their careers first. For them, work is not only a way to earn a living but also a goal, a passion, and a measure of success. When you love someone like this, you will feel their ambition and determination, but you will also inevitably experience feelings of loneliness and abandonment. A man who prioritizes his career may love you very much, but his love often cannot overcome important meetings, challenging projects, or his grand dreams. So, when loving someone like that, should you accept it or walk away? Signs of a man who prioritizes his career over love. It is not hard to recognize a man who always puts work above personal feelings. Here are some clear signs. He is always busy, a packed work schedule, important meetings, significant projects, and business trips leave him with little time for you. Work is always the main topic of conversation. When talking with him, you will notice that the conversation revolves more around work than about love or private moments shared between the two of you. He rarely spends time for romantic moments. He may forget anniversaries, rarely take the initiative to plan dates, or frequently cancel meetings due to sudden work commitments. He always prioritizes his career when a choice must be made. When there is a conflict between love and work, he will choose work without hesitation. You may feel that you are always the second choice. He does not like conversations about a romantic future. When you talk about marriage, long-term commitment, or building a family, he usually avoids the topic or cannot provide a concrete plan. He loves you, but work is more important. He may care for you and worry about you, but that does not change the fact that work will always be his number one priority in life. A man like this does not mean he does not love you, but if you expect a love that is always full of attention, you may end up feeling hurt. Why do they always put their career first? There are many reasons why a man devotes most of his time and energy to work rather than to love, financial pressure and success. Many men believe that a stable and successful career is a solid foundation for building a family. They feel that if they have not achieved their career goals, they are not ready for love. Passion for work over emotions. Some simply love their job. It gives them a sense of excitement, motivation, and achievement that love cannot replace. Fear of missing advancement opportunities. In a competitive world, major opportunities sometimes come only once. They fear that if they do not focus on their career, they will lose a chance that might only come once in a lifetime. Traditional mindset about a man's role. Many men believe that they must succeed before they can love and build a family. Therefore, they do not want to devote too much time to love if they have not yet reached their goals. Lack of skills to balance life. Some simply do not know how to balance work and love. They are so focused on their career that they forget that love also needs nurturing. Loving a man like this does not mean you have to endure or sacrifice completely, but you need to understand how they operate to avoid feeling hurt. How to avoid feeling abandoned in love. If you are in love with a man who prioritizes his career, you do not need to end the relationship, but you also should not let yourself fall into a state of hopeless waiting. Here are some ways to balance this relationship. Accept that he is that kind of person. If you choose to love an ambitious man, you need to understand that he will not completely change. If you expect him to become more romantic and spend more time with you, you might end up disappointed. Do not make your entire life revolve around him. If you focus solely on him and feel sad when he does not have time for you, you will become emotionally dependent. Spend time on yourself, pursue your own interests, develop your own career, and have an independent life. Find effective ways to communicate. Instead of blaming him for being too busy, clearly express your feelings. For example, instead of saying, "You always only think about work and never care about me," try saying, "I understand that work is important to you, but I also long for some private time for the two of us." Make the most of quality time. Even though he is busy, if both of you try, you can still enjoy moments together. Instead of demanding long hours, cherish the few quality moments you have. Do not sacrifice too much by waiting. If you feel that you are always waiting and enduring his coldness, ask yourself if this relationship is worth continuing. True love is not about one-sided sacrifice. When should you walk away? Loving a busy man does not mean you have to completely give up your own desires, but if you constantly feel lonely and do not receive the care you need, perhaps you should reconsider. Here are some signs that indicate you should consider walking away. He does not have time for you, even when you have tried to be flexible. He makes no effort to balance love and work. You feel that you are only a temporary option, not a priority in his life. The relationship makes you feel more sorrow than joy. If you always have to struggle to get even a little attention from him, perhaps he is not the right person for you. In conclusion, a man who prioritizes his career can be very admirable, but loving him is not always easy. The important thing is that you understand your own desires and know your limits. If you can accept and adapt, this relationship can still be sustainable. But if you constantly feel that you are only a secondary choice, perhaps it is time to look for another love, one where you are truly the top priority. Are you in love with a man like that? How do you feel when you are the second choice behind his work? Please share your thoughts. Number 8. The man who is easily influenced by family and friends. Do you love him, or do you love the whole world around him? One of the important aspects of love is independence in thought and decision-making. However, there are men who cannot make choices on their own and are always swayed by the opinions of family and friends. They may love you, but every decision they make depends on the input from those around them. This can make you feel as though you are not just loving one person, but also trying to please everyone in his world. Can a relationship be happy when the man has no independent opinion? And if you are in love with such a person, how can you avoid unnecessary hurt? Signs of a man who is easily influenced by family and friends. A man may love you very much, but if he is overly dependent on others' opinions, you will notice the following signs: always asking for others' opinions before making decisions, whether it's minor matters like where to go or what to eat, or bigger issues such as work or marriage, he always needs to consult family or friends. Afraid of going against his parents, he may love you deeply, but if his family disapproves, he will hesitate, and may even give up on love just to avoid conflict with his parents. Lacks a clear stance in the relationship. When conflicts arise, instead of thinking and resolving the issue on his own, he seeks advice from others and follows what they say. Frequently changes decisions based on outside opinions. One day he says he wants to build a future with you, but after discussing it with family or friends, he begins to doubt the relationship. Swayed by friends in many decisions. If his friends do not like you, he may start to distance himself or listen to their negative advice instead of trusting his own feelings. Lacks the ability to protect the relationship. When there is conflict between you and his relatives, he does not dare to stand up for you but remains silent or sides with his family. Loving someone like this does not necessarily mean you cannot be happy, but if you do not know how to handle it, you will easily fall into insecurity and constant worry about the future. Why are some men easily influenced? Not everyone has the ability to be independent in thought and decision-making. There are many reasons why a man becomes dependent on the opinions of others. A strict family environment. If he grew up in a family with tight control, he may have become accustomed to always following his parents' arrangements. Lack of experience in making his own decisions. Some people have never had to make important decisions on their own, so they always look for confirmation from those around them. Fear of conflict and disputes. He does not want to upset others, especially those close to him, so he always chooses to go along with their opinions instead of fighting for what he wants. A mindset based on the need for external validation. Some people always feel insecure if they do not receive approval from family or friends. They are afraid of being judged, of being seen as disrespectful or stubborn. Not having clearly determined what he wants. When a man does not have clear goals in life, he is easily swayed by the opinions of others. A man like this may be kind and sincere, but if you do not find a way to address this issue, your relationship will face many challenges. How to love a man who is easily influenced without getting hurt. If you are in love with a man who lacks independent opinions, you cannot change him immediately, but you can help make the relationship more sustainable by, let him understand that this is a relationship between the two of you. You need to remind him that love is between two people, not something decided by family or friends. Although outside opinions have value, ultimately, he must be the one to decide. Have an honest conversation about your views. If you feel hurt by his indecisiveness, clearly express your feelings. Don't blame him. Instead, ask questions like, "Do you really want to be with me, or is it only because your family approves?" Encourage him to make his own decisions. Instead of letting him constantly seek advice from others, encourage him to think independently and decide for himself. If there is an issue to resolve, ask him, "What do you really think about this?" Do not tolerate disrespect. If his family or friends continuously exert negative influence on your relationship, and he does not take steps to protect you, you need to reconsider whether he is the right man for you. Check if he can change. Some men may gradually change when they realize that love requires independence. But if, after many suggestions, he still cannot stand by his own decisions, perhaps you need to rethink the future of the relationship. When should you walk away? Love cannot always overcome the influence of family and friends. If you notice the following signs, perhaps you should leave before it's too late. He cannot protect you from the pressure of his family. You always feel like you have to fight to be accepted. The relationship is not really decided by the two of you, but is overly interfered with by others. He never puts you as his top priority when choosing between you and his family or friends. A healthy relationship is one where both partners can make decisions together without being overly affected by outside influences. If that cannot happen, you may forever remain a bystander in his life. Loving a man who is easily influenced by family and friends is not necessarily a bad thing, but it requires patience and tact. The most important thing is to determine whether he is truly ready to fight for the love between the two of you. If he can learn to be independent and make his own decisions, the relationship can still progress. But if he always lets others decide for him, perhaps you should find someone with the strength to protect you and the love you deserve. Conclusion. Love is a journey full of emotions, but it is not always sweet and smooth. Every man has different characteristics, thoughts, and behaviors, and if you do not understand their mindset, you will easily end up feeling hurt. From the cold, unexpressive man, the overly rational and practical man, to the man who loves to conquer but does not commit, each type brings its own challenges in love. Some prioritize their careers above all, while others are influenced by family, friends, or carry unhealed emotional wounds. In particular, there are those who are excessively controlling, turning love into a stifling relationship that loses freedom and equality. The most important thing in love is not to change someone to fit your needs, but to understand them, accept them, or make the right decision. If you feel that you cannot reconcile with a certain type of man, do not stubbornly stay and lose yourself. A lasting love is not about one-sided sacrifice or trying to hold on to someone who cannot love you the way you want. Love the right person, and you will be cherished. But if you love the wrong person, no matter how hard you try, you will only receive hurt. Be wise in love, understand your partner, but most importantly, always love yourself first. Because only when you know your own value can you find a man worthy of loving and being loved in the most complete way. Thank you for watching today's video. I am very happy to share these lessons about love and relationships with you. I hope you have learned something new that you can apply to your own life. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. Thank you for always being with and supporting me. Have a wonderful day and don't forget to love yourself very much.